As we return from the summer break, racing action is set to kick off once again here on Sunday afternoons. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Sunday afternoon racing here for round number next of the Classic Indycar Series. My name is Ola Ramble alongside Gary Godso. We bring you all of racing action from start to finish here this afternoon. Gary, what a wild ride. This one is expected to be here this afternoon. Of course, 200 laps, 300 miles for the Sim Gaming Expo Indy 300. Bound to be a good one.
Well, as they say, championship implications, because even though the last race we were at was, 6 weeks ago at Richmond, actions from that race are going to impact what's going to happen today. Now, it's not as bad as it sounds, but it doesn't help anything, at least in the long-term championship possibilities of maybe putting some more distance on people. But one of our championship contenders, Logan Simmons, not in the race today because of actions that happened in the last race. And if you remember when we were doing that last race, watching that, we were wondering, kind of what was going through his mind and kind of what was going on when we saw those incidents. And now those roosters have come home to hatch right here in the heartland in Kentucky. He will not be in the lineup today, and he has 2 wins of the 3 oval races we've had so far this season. Now, this will be his drop week, so it won't be that bad, but this is certainly going to be on one of those things on his list of if he's in the championship run toward the end of the season as a big missed opportunity.
Critically as well, Thomas Mustonen also not present here. Oh, sorry, never mind. No, he is present here this afternoon. So right now, Cameron Dance trying to see if he can run away with it at the top of the field. His main title contender right now out of the fight for today. So he's hoping that he can get up there and score some points and get away with this thing. But Mustonen will no doubt be hot in his heels, and don't discount Ethan Agan as well, right? Agan's been good on the ovals this season, and with a lot of ovals coming up over the next couple months, I have a feeling Agan's going to be pushing himself closer and closer to the title fight.
The second half of this season is going to be packed with more ovals than the front half of the season. That was packed a little bit more with the road racing. So those that were good with the lefts and rights, well, they're going to have to get really good with just the lefts in the second half of the season. And those that were that survived the first half of the season and might have been an oval expert, well, this is their wheelhouse that we're coming into. So it's going to be a very interesting second half of the season, culminating here in Indianapolis with the Indy 500 later this season.
A very hot track surface out there over this older 2011 Scandinavian Kentucky Speedway. 116 degrees Fahrenheit and 12 miles an hour wind blowing off to the west. Now, 12 miles an hour wind, not too much in stock cars, but that's some fierce crosswinds for Indy cars, right? Much more lighter weight, much more aero-dependent. So I have a feeling we're going to be seeing a bit of action here this afternoon. Historically, Kentucky has always been a pretty low caution scoring racetrack. Last time we were out here, there was only 1 yellow flag throughout the whole race, and in Robert Grosh's own words, well, now that I've said that, it's probably going to go south. And, well, let's just put it this way. IndyCar races, as of late on the channel, they have not been pretty. There's been a lot of dramas in the Global IndyCar Challenge, having a massive crash on lap 1 that took out half the field. The first 2 races of the Velocity Online Racing Series scoring 8 and 10 cautions apiece. IndyCar races have been brutal lately, and tonight might not be so much different.
Well, lately it seems to be, even with the newer cars, the R18, which those other leagues are that you've been talking about, netcode has been awful. Now, we've seen awful netcode in the IR05s here. That is, and we come to expect that, and that's not going to change because these are legacy cars, and iRacing says, that's it, I'm not going to do any more developing these anymore, maybe just a little bit here and there, but they're really not going to address any major issues. And so I expect to see more of that today. We saw it at Motegi. We saw it at Richmond. Why is Kentucky going to be any different? Although this will be a fun track to watch and a fun race to watch. These cars did race here in real life. Last race here was 2011. Got a lot of stats to read about for that for you when we get to that period of the race when we might have too many cautions. But at least we have some real-world data to base this race off of.
Well, this race is going to no doubt be a fun one here this afternoon as qualifying has already drawn to a close. So has the warm-up session as the checker flag just about to fly. A lot of practice has been taking place and a lot of incidents on attempted practice restarts. So whether or not drivers are going to be able to survive to turn 1, well, that is a different story altogether. But as the field is getting set to roll out, time to see who is going to start where as as we see what the starting grid for the Sim Gaming Expo Indy 300 looks like entering Kentucky. Started on pole position then this afternoon, it's going to be the likes of Ethan Hagen, the Team Watson Racing driver, started it off on pole position. His teammate starts beside him on the front row for a Team 1-2 for TWRS. No doubt looking for good runs here this afternoon. Robert Barnicow for iRacing, one of his best qualifying performances, starting from third position alongside Frenchman Sebastian Kinder back in fourth, making it a TWRS 1, 2, and 4. Row number 3, it's iconic motorsports driver Thomas Musadin alongside Jan Hoffman in that Vortex Sim Racing 05. Row 6, you're going to have here the likes of Franz Josef Sturm for iRacing alongside his teammate Randy Shoemake. And then returning for the summer break, it's Caleb Weekly starting down in 9th for Iconic Motorsports alongside Andrea Giacometti for North Sim Racing.
Back in row 6, we got the host with the most, Robert Grosser, who actually has a podium finish in one of our 2 previous races here. He comes in at 201.2 for qualifying. Right next to him is the Catalyst, Andrew Wood. He is also right at the 200-mile-per-hour mark, and he is in the outside of row 6. We got Wilson and Dance back on row 7. Santos and Garrett back on row 8. And then we start the kind of the number of drivers inside. And, I'm just going to stick to the back and not take a qualifying time and see what's in front of me. We've got Eckert and Marcamini, Simmons and Wright. No qualifying speeds for row 9 and 10.
Rafael Eckert and Matthias Eagle Marcamini, as you mentioned, coming in here on this one. Simmons along with Gary Wright. Gary Wright making his CIS debut here this afternoon, or at least he was set to. He is so far not taken to the grid as Simmons with that EOL here as well. Some notable stories going into today. Robert Grosser only going to run a few laps, then park it. He's got other matters to tend to elsewhere that will prevent him from making the duration here of this race. Of course, Cameron Dance, points leader, starting way back in 14th. He needs to do better this afternoon. Marcamini, second day in the row here on Green Flag TV. He was competing in the FTR Events GT Endurance Series just yesterday down under in Australia at Bend for a 6-hour endurance race. And now he hops back stateside. Took a running with open wheel action here this afternoon. Well, we're happy you're joining us for racing action here on this fantastic Sunday afternoon as the iRacing pace car makes its drive into pit road. And Ethan Hagen jumping on the lap pedal. It's time to go, go, go as we return from the summer break.
Big twitch on that restart for Hagen, but he held it. Weekly slow to the inside going in the 1.
Caleb Weekly very slow, slowing dramatically, and in fact he may have had an issue down at the tail of the field off of that jump. Coming around through turn numbers 3 and 4, Hagen will be the one to lead the way here at the end of lap 1 this afternoon. Matthias Strauss's teammate kicking off as well to number 2, and then it's Kinder, Mooston, and Hoffman, Barnicow, all in a line here as the field drives her in deep into turn numbers 1 and 2.
Remember, this is the older scan of Kentucky, not the newer scan with the green walls. Newer scan has more banking in turns 1 and 2, a very flatter 3 and 4. This is actually the last configuration that Indycar raced on when they raced here in 2011 for their final race. This exact configuration right here. We have a lot of real-world data to go off of how these cars actually performed here in the past. Mustanin, purple lap.
So far, Thomas Mustonen with the time to be here at the head of the field. Meanwhile, Barnicow going around the outside of Jan Hoff and Andrew Wood. The Catalyst trying to look down to the inside. 3 wide. Coming down towards turn number 1. Hoffman caught in the middle. Barnicow, they'll get a lift up top. And Randy Shoemake down the inside of Barnicow through turn 1.
Yeah, he needs to make that pass get done and completed quickly because Kinder, Mustanin, Strauss, Hagen up front, top 4. They're in a little bit of a draft train, and they're starting to put a little bit of an edge on that next group of 5.
Trouble!
Caution.
Johnny Garrett. Good job. Gathers it up, keeps it off the outside wall. Somehow, not a lot of damage on the number 68, although that rear wing is going to be a worrisome prospect, especially at a track as air-dependent here as Kentucky.
Oh, that's going to be a handful all day. What happened? A little bit of accordion-style action going on at turns 3 and 4. He got into the back of Jamie. I think he was checking up And just, again, shows you the closing rates. That's not an arc of brake situation, people. You can't just say, oh, he could have got on the brakes much quicker. That's just the closing rates of these cars. They are, much more faster than your average stock car around this place. And even if the car in front of you just lifts just for a heartbeat, you need to do the same. Otherwise, you're on the back of them. And that's just one of those accordion-style incidents.
He did a really good job to keep that car off the outside wall. That could have been a really heavy incident coming down to the turn number 3. So you watch, kind of gets a bit of help from Wood, slings the car around, doesn't panic, locks it down. Does a good solid job to keep that thing in the groove. So Johnny Garrett, unsurprisingly, down to pit road this afternoon. He'll be our first official pit stop on the day. Now, of course, the big problem was, of course, Andrew Wood. How bad is his damage? You did see the left front wheel disconnected, but that does appear like it was a bit of, the good old net code here on iRacing. There's been a lot of that in IndyCar action as of late. I know, Gary, you and I saw pretty bad cases of that actually at the Milwaukee Mile here in the Classic IndyCar Series earlier this year.
Oh yeah, we over on my channel we cover a lot of IndyCar races. I mean, that's almost exclusively what we cover, and we call that, when you see the damage snap back into place, we call that as iRacing is forgiving you. The racing gods are giving you another chance on that. But so that's what it looked like, and it was Jamie Wilson. That's Wood's teammate. Wood is up in 5th spot right now, and Jamie, that left front of his became disconnected and started flying around, and it snapped itself back into place, and it looks like he may have been forgiven. Now, what we don't see, if there's any other unseen damage done to that car, possibly to the under tray, we don't know. He won't really know until he gets back up to speed.
Pace car lights go out. We will be 1 to green here this time by. So while drivers getting set to roll their way all the way up and around here this afternoon, should be, I would imagine, a very solid drive throughout the whole field here this afternoon. As this one, I think I'm excited, right? I mean, this race has shown a lot of promise in the early goings, and I don't see why this is going to change anytime soon.
It's the 3rd time that the Classic IndyCar Series has been here. The season 3, which is in 2017, which they did a recreation of the 2011 season. That race was won by current Ferrari esports driver Michele Constantini, and it was by over a whopping 11 seconds. Robert finished 2nd in that one. And then they came back again in 2020, aka season 5, and that was won by Randy Shoemake in a race that was a little bit more fitting of the real-life IndyCar finish here. Randy won by 1/16 thousandths of a second. That is 0.116, so a tenth of a second was the margin of victory there over Laville and Martin June. Lavelle is the only driver in league history to have 2 top 5s here, so the racing has been pretty good.
Egan will lead the way.
Watch that wheel spin, fellas. And the blinking. Oh, here we go.
Green flag up in the air. All's well, looks well here this afternoon. Robert Grosjean coming down pit road again. No surprise, he mentioned he was probably going to be making an early exit this afternoon. Johnny Garrett with a black flag for reasons unknown as he heads down towards turn number 1.
Did he possibly pass a blinking Caleb Weekly and he didn't know it?
If that's the case, I would hope that would get clear.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound very fair to him.
And it is definitely a blinking Caleb Weekly. And it was to the inside instead of the outside where he made the pass. So that is the black flag right there. Hopefully they can maybe remove that, unless they're going to hold firm on it.
Well, looks like they're holding firm. He's down pit road, and he's going to serve it. Meanwhile, Jamie Wilson caught up in that incident a few laps ago, now trying to attack Franz Josef Stum, while Sebastian Kinder puts down the fastest lap of the race so far with a 26.288. Further up in 4th.
99.9. So we're just under the 200-mile-per-hour barrier.
Meanwhile, Dance round the outside of Randy Shoemake secures the spot for 7th place. Barnicow, he wants to go up high. He wants to have a look to drive this in up top. Randy Shoemake maintaining his strong run. And Wilson trying to look to the inside of Shoemake this time around.
Shoemake there, yeah. Shoemake won the last race here back in Season 5, 2020.
Good number of years since Kentucky Speedway has seen its return to the Classic Indycar Series season, and it's always kind of exciting, right? You get to have a bit of a fresh start for you here. Thomas Wilson in fastest lap of the race and immediately tried to launch an attack on Matthias Strauss. It didn't go to plan, though.
The track record is 2:21.3, set in 2002 by Sarah Fisher. Her team, her and her team have had a very good history here. She holds the track record and holds the last win here, IndyCar race win here, when Ed Carpenter edged out Dario Franchitti in the sixth. I believe it's the sixth closest finish in IndyCar history, but it's certainly one of the top 10 closest finishes in IndyCar history. Ed Carpenter, big-time fan here in the local Indianapolis area, multi-time Indy 500 pole center, got his very first win here, and it was a very popular win. Owner of Ed Carpenter Racing.
A lot of action at the moment from the lead of the race as the top three all separated by only 0.3 of a second. Now, how eager is Strauss going to be to go down the inside of his Team Watson Racing Setup's teammate here? Mustinen still maintaining his run in third. He has not shown much eagerness to go out there and fight with these guys yet. He's got to keep an eye from behind, though. Kinder is back and forth, and I'm willing to bet you Kinder's going to want to go down the inside of Mustinen to play rear gunner support and make it a team 1-2-3.
Yeah, I definitely think the team's working together here. That's probably why you don't see Strauss making a run at Egan. I'm pretty sure Strauss is also wanting to stay there to save fuel. Wouldn't be surprised if Mustanen's there the same as well. But if Kinder could get up there, he could play a rear gunner, as you said, and lock out the top three and try to bully Mustanen here in a little bit of a 3-on-1 handicap match.
Bit of a moment there, looks like, for Andrew Aiken, really slow coming off of turn 4. He's going to drop down several positions as they make their way down the back straightaway and in towards the front straightaway, into turn number 1. So something big has happened to Andrew Aitken. Let's take a look and see if we can find out what. Take it right in front. Oh, he's going to clip that apron. Launches up the track, and a great job to keep it off the inside wall.
Apron bad, as we like to say, and good catch. But sometimes you kind of get that tunnel vision when you're in these cars, and you turn down and you grab that yellow line, and you grab a little bit more than you should, and that's what happens.
Well, like you say, a fantastic job on managing to get around that mostly unscathed. Could have easily been a race ender for him had that gone any other way. Lucas Santos for Screeching Moose Motorsports trying to launch down the inside of Randy Shoemake here into turn numbers 1 and 2. Pushing up from the bottom, he's able to keep it off of him, and Shoemake continues to retain.
Looking a little loose when they come down off a low line. I see a lot of the cars as they're exiting the corners are right, even off of turn 4, where they have a little bit more of a cleaner arc through the front stretch area. They seem to be loose if they're not up against the wall. If they're a little bit lower, like a half a lane lower or lane lower, they seem to have a happy back end.
Well, the field going to keep the fights going strong here as we drive around in the turn numbers 1 and 2, sorry. The field showing some good metal at the moment. You got a 5-way fight with the top spot, and Andrew Wood, the catalyst, down the inside of the Frenchman. He wants to go for 4th place in turn 3.
Andrew's looking for a good finish here. He's had himself a pretty decent season so far, and he will be, if he can get a good finish out of the day, he will be definitely very happy later tonight when he joins me at 8 p.m. Eastern over on the P1 broadcasting channel for the Dark Horse IndyCar Series for their race at Michigan. He's my co-commentator for that, so I'll be rooting for him. But he's just recently back from Germany doing some karting over there, and recently just had a birthday as well. So once again, happy belated birthday to my man, Andrew Wood, the Catalyst.
Looking over his left shoulder here as he worked back into turns 1 and 2. I like the different lines, right? He's trying to look high, look low. He's trying to find a different line, some clean air to try and fight his way through.
Yeah, these are wide corners here, so you can go 3 different lines through these corners. ultimately the bottom line is still the fastest line. But the second line and the third line, you can get a lot of clean air up there and at least hold your position and not get that aero wash where you have to really, really roll out of the accelerator.
Well, the field going to keep on keeping on here as the battles are going to get set to continue up that little bit more as time goes along. Still a long way to go. Race National Drive, we are only working lap 23 of 200 here this afternoon. One of the longer oval races on the track. Most of them tend to be around 300 kilometers. This one here, though, a full 300 miles.
But keep in mind, I mean, 200 miles per hour per lap. We're doing, what are we doing? Less than 30 seconds a lap around this place here. If we get a good long green flag run, this could be over really quick versus the other oval races we've seen this season, one of which is bumped up against the, actually did not actually bump, but went up to the time limit. So a nice long green flag oval race stints here that we're going to see today, hopefully, is really what I think is what's needed, especially after a long break.
Good chance to get back into the saddle here. Matthias Marcamini didn't have too much luck yesterday and down in Australia when he was racing at the Bend in one of our GT3 categories, though showing some improvements here. He just made the pass on Andrew Aitken for number 12 on the racetrack here. So Marcamini coming back around, turn numbers 1 and 2, trying to charge after Lucas Santos, who's been slowly pulling away with that 11th place up the road.
The problem with these guys are facing back here is that they're so far disconnected from the lead pack. We kind of got two packs up front. We have the first 5, which are together, and they're already encountering lap traffic right now. And then we have another group led by Dance, who is starting to pull away a little bit from Jamie Wilson and Jan Hoppen. That's a small 3-car pack. And then 9th and 10th are together. That's Barcanal and Giacometti. And then we go back a little bit further, and there's that group we were just talking about, led by Santos. So they're about four groups back and really out of the draft. So what they want to hope now is just to hold their position, stay in the lead lap, and get to these first round of pit stops and see if they can maybe improve the handling of these cars, maybe improve the speed a little bit, because this is open setup. They can change the aero. But the other thing that they're kind of hoping for now is like, well, give me another one of those cautions. But with only 18 cars, just take the green flag, and right now only 16 on the racetrack, your opportunities for a caution are getting fewer and fewer and fewer.
Well, the odds may lower, but they are never zero. How many times have we seen races be kind of thrown to the wind, right? I mean, look at the Global Indycar Challenge. One really big crash on lap number 1 of 125 at the Brickyard to close out the championship, and it was looking to be a done deal. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a caution came out with about 30 laps to go, changed the equation entirely. It's always, the yellow flag's always got a way of finding you right when you don't want them or when you do want them, and it usually comes in a manner you wouldn't expect.
Well, we are 30 laps into this thing, and we expect first round of pit stops no earlier than lap 50 with the 2 cautions that we've had so far. I would say closer to 55, maybe bordering 60. The car that's probably hemorrhaging the most fuel right now is Egan, our leader. But I expect Strauss and Mustanen to maybe go a little bit deeper into this run than Egan and see what happens about that overlap period. Does something happen? Do we have a problem with the car coming on and off pit road here? Because the pit road off method here, or the getting off of pit road, you are right up against that outside or inside wall coming back to speed on the racetrack. It's very bumpy and slippery, and we've seen a number of cars coming up to speed there and just grab another gear and a little extra wheel spin, and the car noses into that inside wall really easily.
Not just at IndyCar races, right? Even 3,400-pound stock cars tend to have problems here as Robert Rocher getting the meatball flag as his engine going to expire in pit road. There goes Andrew Aiken. He's finally caught Lucas Santos around the outside, nearly into the outside wall for the number 19. So Santos with a close shave as Aitken traveling down to the inside through turn 1. Aitken slips through, and Santos trying to chase him down. Potentially problems for Johnny Garrett.
Yeah, Garrett's, remember, had that earlier spin and some damage on that rear wing, probably on the floorboard as well. So he's in a drive to survive mode at this point. He's like, God, whatever happened to him happened like lap 10 or so. It's like, now I got 190 laps of just hanging on. And his deal is that, you know, he's up in the top 10 in the points. And everybody in front of him is doing better than he is right now. So he's just he needs to keep those wheels rolling and hope for a little bit more of attrition. And he blinks out.
So the field going to keep on pushing here as Marcamini looking for the inside on Lucas Santos. Santos tracking up to the outside, and that outside lane, it's good for defense here, right? I mean, you're not going to be able to get a pass around the outside. You got to do that down on the low side. But that outside groove really works wonders for defensive. It just takes so much air off the front end of the cars behind you. You're not really able to get that hammer down, and Matthias Marcamini clearly struggling with that.
And it's all the momentum on the high side as well. They just got to keep that forward low going, and that is one of the better ways to defend. Is just, you know, make the pass as hard as possible on the high side. You're going to have a lot of momentum in the car on the inside, which is scrubbing a little bit more speed off because they're cranking the wheel.
Oh, Barnicow really slow. Oh, hold on. Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. Huge crash back straightaway. Multiple cars, 3 of them getting collected. Barnicow, Santos, Marcamini, all torn up. You were right.
I think that happened right around Barnicow. I think that started right around him. He got loose off the corner. Remember I talked, oh, no, sorry, that's wrong. That is Santos. He got loose. Remember I said about the lower line, the cars being a little loose down there? He was at a lower line, and he got loose, caught it, and then just nosed it into one car and then bounced off another and then collected another.
You're riding on board with Matthias Marcamini with the helmet camera, and he had absolutely nowhere to go. Got just piled up with that, a big lick into a concrete inside wall. No safer barriers at this point in time when this track was scanned in on the inside, and that just means even more damage for everybody involved. That is a big
at least one of those drivers had no idea that was coming.
Yeah, and it would have been Barnicow down on the inside line. Let's ride on board with Barnicow, see what he saw. The answer's going to be nothing.
Yeah,
no
all of a sudden he's just going, what the heck? Oh.
Kind of smacks that inside barrier as well. Multiple cars down pit road, no surprises here. Kinder leads the way out. Interesting enough, Egan Strauss boosted it all, stayed on the racetrack. Yeah, I like the split strategies going on here. Those guys that came in the pit road, it's close enough to this first window to open to just go ahead and get it done. But I also like that Egan Strauss and Mustaine realize, through historically speaking here in real IndyCar races in the past, that the track position really means a lot. Despite being a lot of the IndyCar pack races here late in its IndyCar run, all winners here at the track. And well, they're going to come to pit road right now. They do a little bit of a pump fake. In that case, they're going to lose a lot of track position. And yeah, interesting. Okay. I didn't anticipate that. All but one winner of all the winners that came in IndyCar races here for real came from the top 10, showing historically speaking, the win at Kentucky, you need to start up front, but these guys are going to give up all their track position. Yes, they absolutely will. So I think they kind of realize, well, we're going to be caught in the back foot here if we don't. Yeah, you give them track position, but if this race goes green, it could save you a lap later on.
Certainly with another 3 more cars possibly eliminated. That's going to be, again, less cars out on the racetrack that can, bump into each other, bounce off one another, net code into one another. Those are fewer opportunities for a caution.
So down the back straightaway, Sebastian Kinder leads the field. Lap 40 of 200. As this pack is going to get set to go at it again. And we'll see, will they get off the line well this time around as well?
We're getting ready to go green here at lap 41. Kinder, Dance, Hoffman, Wilson, Wood. Two teammates up there as well. See if they work together and try to navigate their way to the front. Big twitch for Kinder.
Down to the turn number 1, Cameron Dance wasting no time, leaning on the door of Kinder as they come around through turn numbers 1 and 2. Down the back straightaway. Hoffman's right there. He wants to go for the lead as well. Dance started all the way back in 14th, trying to go for the lead of the race here early on. Round the bottom side of Kinder, up the racetrack. They're still side by side for number 1.
They're being audible here because you got one driver from France. We got one driver from down under. The high liability, what we might see, possibilities of net code is extremely high. Oh my goodness.
Bit of a collision there as they came around through 1 and 2. Now back to 3 and 4, still trying to fight it out. You've also got Jamie Wilson now who's picked up third place while he's gotten around Jan Hoffman. Now 2 wide, still for the lead since the restart. Dance just not able to clear Kinder on the bottom lane.
All these drivers are from another continent other than North America.
Oh boy.
Except with the exception of Wood. So the possibility of netcode is extremely high here.
3 wide for the lead as Jamie Wilson tracked down low, gets around Cameron Dance. Dance forced to back out for the middle. Sebastian Kinder still holding on for the race lead up at the head of the field. Down to turn number 1 once again as Wilson now drives back to the inside line. Coming around through 1 and 2. Again, someone's got to tell these guys, hey, you got over 150 laps to go here. That's well over 200 miles. And now Wilson's teammate Andrew Wood down to the inside. He wants to attack his teammate for the top spot.
He got a big run from his teammate's draft, and he took advantage of it, went 3 wide in the corner. Unfortunately, his teammate was a meat in the 3 wide sandwich. And now he's up the second to the inside of Seb Kinder, and he's going to get this pass done. But remember, he needs to get it done because that lower line gets a little loose down there, so he's trying to adjust those tools to firm his car up. But once he passes, he's going to have to reset his tools for a position, well, we would call it lead position in terms of where you put your tools.
Kinder, credit to him, he has been doing a fantastic job on driving defense here. The challenges have been changing, but the defender has remained the same. Finally, though, Andrew Wood clears the top spot, but has he?
Oh, not yet. Here's that high line.
Back to around him, and here comes Jamie Wilson looking for 3 into turn number 3. He's not going to get it, though. Wilson continues to hold on as Wood and Kinder go sideways over the lead, and Kinder tucks in line.
Wood could have slammed the door a couple of times if he wanted to, and he was a really nice driver and not did that. So that's how the high line came back in. He could have got up there and blocked it and caused Seb to have to roll out, and he was a really good gentleman driver. Just kind of hold his line and allow Kinder to come back. We're only 47 laps into this thing, so it's no reason to be super defensive at this point.
An intense series of laps, though, as they went 2 and 3 wide for the lead numerous times. Now down to the turn numbers 1 and 2. Kinder continuing to go around the outside, trying to get that lead right back. And, you know, running this close together, you got to be careful, right? Because, I mean, these are Indy cars. You catch a little bit of air, these cars tend to take off. I know that when IndyCar raced here, there were quite a few instances where you had some pretty high flyers here.
Yeah, we want to keep everybody on the ground. In real life, there were many times, especially in this era of IndyCar, where cars would get airborne. And it's never a good thing, especially when you got those steel poles along the backstretch for the catch fence. Just tears a car up.
We've seen it before. It happened in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series way back in 2015. I believe it was Ben Kennedy that got up and it was just the back bumper that clipped that fence, and it got ripped to shreds. And that crash enough to have ended the 2015 Truck Series race here. So not something you want to repeat, especially at IndyCar races here. Thankfully, these cars don't get torn up so much on iRacing as they do in the real world, but boy, it still makes you shudder.
Yeah, some of the more famous IndyCar instances, what happened is Kenny Breck, the 1998 Indy 500 winner at Texas. Also another one at Texas was Davey Hamilton. Of course, he's on the Speedway network right now. If you listen to any IndyCar races on the radio, he's their driver expert. He got in a bad one at Texas as well. A couple times cars have gotten airborne at Michigan and Fontana.
I believe one of the cars that flipped over in some of the final years of IndyCar racing in Kentucky, he also had a role at Michigan that earlier in the year, did he not?
You're thinking Kenny Breck? Yeah, Kenny spent a lot of time in the air, more than he probably wanted to. More than he probably wanted. That's probably why he retired a little bit early. You know, he's like, yeah, I got my Indy 500 win. I got my IndyCar championship. I'm done.
So you know what? You can only roll that dice so many times where you come up with snake eyes. Better not to push your luck in some instances on that.
Yeah.
Andrew Woodkins.
And he was
go ahead, sorry.
Oh, sorry. He was the 99 Indy 500 winner, the 98 IndyCar championship. The 98 Indy 500 winner, sorry, was Kenny. Oh, what? The big catch by the apron of Seb Kinder. But the 98 Indy 500 winner was Eddie Cheever. So if someone's in chat saying, Gary's wrong, I caught it. I caught it.
Cameron Dance down to the inside of Kinder, trying to go for number 3. The driver out of Auckland, New Zealand, still wanting to drive up towards the front of the field. Contact with him and Kinder down to the turn number 3. They're able to recover it. But Cameron Dance and Sebastian Kinder are playing with fire on the racetrack.
You know, and all of a sudden, here's Andrew Aiken into the picture here.
And don't look now, but right behind them, and in fact battling with Dance now, is Thomas Mustonen, the driver that Dance wants to finish ahead of to try to extend his points lead. With Logan Simmons not racing this afternoon, it is so critical for Dance to be able to have a good run. Mustonen will try to go around the outside of the Orbit Drop Bear Motorsports number 1 in the turn numbers 1 and 2, and he's going to go for the over-under. Enters high, exits low, gets a run down the back straightaway. Is it enough to go for the spot? It sure is, side by side, then a turn 3.
The key thing, and gone kind of unnoticed out of this, is Mustonen is now ahead of Egan and Jan Hoffman, who were all kind of with him together on pit road. They all came to pit road that last time. He's moved ahead of them all.
You're right on board of the Iconic Motorsports number 22, and you see just how powerful that drive is from Cameron Dance. Just not able for Mustonen to really have much ways to get up and in there. Try as he may, Dance all the way up to the outside, cutting back in line. And Mustonen's got a bit of work ahead of him. He wants to catch up to 4th, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st, which is right now 4 cars under a 0.3 of a second blanket, but he's already going for it again.
Oh, big tank slapper by Aiken coming off of 2.
A big tank slapper, looking like he's gathered it up, though, and we're going to keep this thing going in the right direction. This is the number 27 here, coming around through 1. And, oh, man, he did catch the outside wall. So how much damage has that dealt to the number 27 iRacing team? Doesn't look like it's gotten too much. It looks like he may have gotten away with it, but he has lost the draft, and he's got a world of hurt. He is now hoping for a caution to get himself back in the fight and also to bring the car back down pit road to assess damage.
Pretty good lick. I don't know. If there's no damage on that car, I'll be remarkably surprised. Toe change in the rear, something. I would be remarkably surprised. But also kind of surprising right now is that the top 6, top 7 really have been really racy. I thought that maybe they would get in line and kind of just ride it out through this stint, maybe get to the next stint, but they seem pretty intent on wanting to race. Although it doesn't look like, now Jamie's the leader, it doesn't look like Andrew's really challenging Jamie right now. He slides up the racetrack a little bit. Here comes Kinder to the inside. Watch that lower line. Told you it gets happy down there.
This is a nerve-wracking scene to watch here. I mean, these cars just getting so close together. I do think that out of all the Indy cars and all the ovals they've raced at, these mile and a halves are some of my favorite, right? I mean, the absolute intensity at dogfighting at such type of facility at over 320 kilometers an hour. There's just something special about it. And even bigger tracks like Auto Club in Michigan, those races are spectacles to behold in their own right.
From about 2000 to 2011, with one race with an exception, really as an exception after that, and that was the MAB 500 in 2015. This is kind of the era of IndyCar pack racing, the really exciting IndyCar pack racing. And, it was very safe. I mean, there were incidents, but you know, there were no serious wrecks, and unfortunately, that kind of all ended in 2011 at Las Vegas with Dan Weldon. But any time that the IndyCars came to a 1.5 mile intermediate track or 2 mile super speedway like Fontana or Michigan, all those races were always must-see TV if you watch them. In fact, there's a video on YouTube, if you can go back and find it, of the top 100 and top 10 closest finish in IndyCar history, and just watch those videos and see how many of those races were at these style of racetracks. And you'll want to go back in history and watch those races that they're on YouTube. Just about every single one of them is. You should check them out. They are really exciting, and these guys really just had a lot of testicular fortitude, steel testicular fortitude, as a matter of fact, to put their cars inches apart from one another with no fenders.
Some might argue titanium testicular fortitude, but
exactly.
Right now the Team Chimera drivers have lost the 1-2 that they were holding at the head of the field. Cameron Dance finally got up and around them, and it was just a disaster from there for Chimera. Dance slipped through, Egan slipped through, Musanen has slipped through. They are now running 1, 2, and 3. Make that 4 different teams in the top 4, all trying to battle that with one another. And you've also got guys like Kinder, Strauss, Hoffman, all engrossed in this large battle pack for some of the front spots.
We're getting past an IndyCar is not a bad thing, especially if they're in the lead pack. And for them, those two guys are very old and wise iRacers. They probably know, hey, we did some time at the front. We got some TV time. We saw how our cars handle up there. Let's follow back. Let's get in line. Let's save some fuel, and let's start putting a little strategy into this thing. So, you know, to go from the lead back to 4th and 5th, no big deal, really, I don't think. Ooh, and Wood grabbed a little bit of the apron that time by.
He kept it together. No big loss in time, so he'll retain that position. Now, Ethan Egan looking for the inside on Cameron Dance into turn number 1. Trying to go for the top spot. Dance maintains Mustanen up top, trying to chase him back down.
Egan is very patiently. He did not have a great restart. Recaught this group kind of one by one, picked them off. Now got around Mustanen. Remember, Mustanen was behind Egan. Egan was the leader coming to pit road. He stayed out, but stayed out an extra lap before he came into pit road. Him, Mustanen, and Strauss. And they have got, after the restart, they have now driven up through the pack, and now Egan has hopped over Mustanen. He's in second, so he's back into that position where he was before that last caution came out, other than leading the race, which he might just get ready to do here in just a second.
And we've also got some more updates as drivers are starting to slip towards the back of the field. Johnny Garrett, meanwhile, is down a pit road and could very well be pulling out of this race as he is, never mind, he's just coming in for regular service into the box and he's back onto the racetrack. Meanwhile, Dance trying to fight it out with Egan and Musanen here. 3 cars, all for the lead, down to the turn numbers 3 and 4.
A Brazilian slide.
Oh, trouble back straightaway. Andrea Giacometti hard into the inside wall on the back straightaway. And that brings out caution number 3. What a fight we've been having, though.
Egan with just the narrowest of all margins. When he heard clear by his spotter, he didn't waste any time.
Giacometti tracks wide. He's going to collect Franz Josef Stum. They both get collected, hopped up into the air and down into the inside wall. You saw the right rear wheel broke immediately, and that car was toast.
Watching this again, it looks like Stum has kind of got loose. Oh, no. I think there's a little bit of net code there. Yeah, net code to the inside. Yeah, a little bit of right front connect net code with the tail of Stum there. And to be honest, it wasn't any worse for wear for Stum. He just collected it. Unfortunately, it sent Giacometti to the inside wall. No fast repairs here in the Classic IndyCar Series, so that is a day done for Giacometti.
We got some time here under this caution flag. Let's bring down George and Zaldo from the Sim Gaming Expo here into the broadcast booth to give us a bit of a chat here. And Gary, you're familiar with Inzaldo and SGE. I'll leave things down to you.
No idea who this guy is. How you doing, George?
Hey, Gary. Hey, Nolan. How are you?
Oh, it's good to have you here. Good to be here. Sim Gaming Expo, just less than a month away. Schaumburg, Illinois, at the convention center there. First annual, hope a first of many. Talk about it, my man. You put a lot of love and dedication into this thing. Former Lionheart admin, and put Lionheart on hiatus and put all your energies into the Sim Gaming Expo. It's going to be a good weekend. I'm going to be there. It's going to be a good time. Talk about everything that you have planned for this Sim Gaming Expo, including what I might be doing there, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, just super excited, and really honestly, just from the fan perspective and being a part of this community for such a long time now, this was something, in my opinion, that we just needed for so many years, and I'm so glad to finally be bringing it here to North America for all of our simulation fans. Basically, the show is going to be a celebration of everything sim. Sim racing will play a major role, and we're super excited. We're going to have a number of competitions going on throughout the weekend. We're going to have equipment from some of the top brands throughout the industry. It's going to be fantastic. Gary, as you know, we're going to have some amazing IndyCar action. We'll have a main stage with 15 cockpits, and we'll have you there announcing, and we're so excited about it. It's going to be great. We have about 50 brands, some of them co-exhibitors, but a total of a little more than 40 exhibitors coming to this event. So we're super excited, as you mentioned. We're looking to kind of shape things here in North America for many years to come. So we're excited for this first one, but we want everyone to come out, enjoy themselves, and let's be a part of history together. Let's build something. That's what we're looking to do, is to make this an amazing community event for fans, by fans, and just so excited for September 5th when doors open.
If I want to learn more, I want to buy tickets, where do I go? What do I do?
Yeah, just visit our website, simgamingexpo.com. Tickets start off single day $35, 2-day pass $65, and 3-day pass $85. So kids 12 and under are free with a paid adult, and we think it's going to be great. There's going to be speakers talking throughout the weekend. We'll have a PC gaming area, so you'll be able to try out other genres of sim, because the show is basically celebrating, as I mentioned, all genres of sim. But for the sim racing enthusiasts, there'll be a full weekend packed of equipment to test out. There'll be tons of motion sims. There's really something for everyone, and we're super excited about it. But yes, visit us at simgamingexpo.com and on our socials at simgamingexpo, and you can find out all the details, and we hope to see you there.
Nolan, you got anything for George?
I think he has covered everything quite nicely. George, thank you for the time to come up here and tell us more about Sim Gaming Expo, and we'll hopefully see you there.
Thank you so much. Big shout out to Classic IndyCar Series, Robert and all of his staff and drivers. Been friends with them for a long time, so want to thank him again for his support and having me on. Have a great race. We'll watch this one. It's been great so far. Thanks.
Thanks, George. We'll see you there.
Take care.
Well, with that, the green flag has dropped. Jan Hoffman pulling out in front. Cameron Dance in number 2. Bit of a breaking apart of the field as they went green, but slowly but surely, they're all starting to close back in, and now you've got the top 6 under a second.
As George mentioned, at the Sim Gaming Expo, there'll be sponsored by Gomez Sim Industries. If you are ever in the market for a new wheel for your sim racing, you got to check out Gomez Sim Industries, GSI. They're sponsoring an open wheel challenge. It's an invitational. 15 of some of the best iRacers in the IR18 will be showing up and going head to head. We got Brendan Lichtenberg, the Hyperstar, and his Twitch channel. Oh yeah. Christopher Demerit, Mark Murphy is going to be there. Phil Kraus, Adam Crane, Jacob Collins, Barrett Rolfe, some of these big names that have been in IndyCar forever in this community. Check them out, and they'll be those races will also be streamed live. and I'll be calling the action there along with Matt Wagner, who's also raced before here in the CIS. So looking forward to bringing IndyCar sim racing to a wider audience when we're there. And a lot of these guys that you see in the lineups here on a weekly basis, they will be there, part of the Invitational.
Well, you saw him going 3-1 for the top spot as we get back to the racing action as Egan, Moosen, and Wood all going at it with one another here, coming around through 1 and 2, 3, 4 different teams all leading the way as Moosen trying to see if he can get around Ethan Egan for that coveted top spot. Of course, remember, it's so critical because the more spots you get further up the grid, the higher the points gap between positions is. So Moosen knows if he wants to reel in that gap to Cameron Dance, he's got to finish on the top. We are in the back half of the season now. You can't afford to play around to the back anymore.
Or just shy of halfway, so a lot can still happen. So, if, someone, the draft is starting to leave, such as Jan Hoffman, he's kind of there at about a second behind that lead pack. He's out of the window. The window's about 6/10 to 8/10 that extends back behind these cars. In real life, it's actually much further than that, but now he's getting shuffled to the inside. So I think Kinder wants to try to lead that group and maybe try to run down that lead pack. Maybe he could do it with his setup. We have seen that the Team Watson cars seem to have a pretty good setup where they could drive to the back, to the front, to the front, to the back, so to speak, pretty easily.
And for the lead into the wall for big time for Cameron Dance. Dance catching the fence, something fierce coming around as it's eyes up front. Moosen and Wood side by side through turn numbers 3 and 4. Ethan Egan looking for 3 wide as the field tries to go up and around. Coming back around to the turn numbers 1 and 2 as Moosen still holds the run up on the outside. Andrew Wood down on the inside. Ethan Egan right behind them trying to gun it into turn number 3.
Bannon is being very nice here. He's given a lot of room to Wood. So a little crowding there, a little bit coming off of 3 and 4, but that's his right. He can do that. He's not doing anything dirty. And there he goes. He gets by on the high side. Now your new leader.
Well, not quite. Moosen still holding the outside line, and he's going to retake that lead from Andrew Wood. Ethan Egan, can he have a go at the Iconic Motorsports driver at the top of the field? Team Chimera still working their best down to that second place, but I think Andrew Wood might fall here as Ethan Egan tries to go up and around the top. Cameron Dance still running in fourth, and Matthias Strauss, the driver that started in the front row, is back in fifth. He is no doubt eager to regain a podium here.
I'm telling you, I think these Team Watson racing setups are very drivable. We've seen the cars go from the back to the front, to the front to the back. I've said that a couple times. And I seem to think that they've clicked on something as he got a run on Dance there coming off of 4 and almost got that wing up underneath one of those wheels, and that would have been bad for both of them. But these Team Watson racing cars, they seem to have a little something extra in that setup that allows them to kind of move very freely through the field as Strauss blinks out.
Strauss up into turn numbers 3 and 4. Again, looking for the outside and then try to cut back into the inside right. The classic over-under that has won so many drivers, so many races, not just in IndyCar action, but in stock car racing as well. Strauss so far unable, though, to find a proper opening to get down the inside of Dance. And Kinder, Wilson, and Aiken have all joined the fray. 8-car scrap for the top spots.
Take your eyes off this lead pack, but we do have Weekly and Stum, I think, trying to work together, although Weekly is blinking very badly. I think they're trying to swap the lead and try to run this group down, but they are a ways behind. They're going to have to, they really need a caution now at this point to kind of hope on it. Let's look at that gap. They got 3 seconds to Hoffman. So yeah, they have a little bit of work.
And frankly, I don't think it's work that you can make up if you don't have the track gear that far back, especially when one of your drivers there is blinking out so consistently. I mean, heck, just look at Strauss, right? He tried to get around Dance, and yeah, he did so, but look at how much time he's lost. He's lost over almost half a second up to third place. That's going to take a little bit for them to run that gap back down.
long as he can stay in that window, he's in there. If he exceeds that window anymore, then he's out of the draft. And he's in the draft, so he can use a little bit of that aero assist to help creep back into the picture. And I think he is. Strauss is now 4/10 back from Wood.
Mustonen will keep the fight up. 10th and a third. Now down to 1/10 as Egan sits just behind Mustonen. He's able to close in so effectively coming down the straightaway, but he's just not able to make any kind of move on Mustonen. Now, do you want to go for that move, or do you want to just kind of hang around and just wait and see what happens as you get deeper into the run? Because we haven't had green flag stops yet today either.
We're not too far away from, well, I shouldn't say that. We're about halfway through the run. We're about 5 laps shy of halfway through a green flag run here. And keep in mind, 22-gallon tanks on these cars versus the 18-gallon tanks we see on the IR18. So IR18s will go 45-ish laps around here. These guys could go a little bit further. So I say at this point, let's settle in. Let's try to set this thing up for a long green flag run and just stay in line, save some fuel. As long as everybody's together, you're not really losing anything. It's where the aggressiveness comes in that shrinks this pack back up and then gets everybody within the netcode danger zone.
Well, Andrew Wood will keep up the battle here as they have caught, I believe that is Andrea Giacometti. And it is. Giacometti got a new rear wing strapped back to the car. They fixed up the suspension enough that they can drive, but not fast.
Strapped is a good word. That is a bad-looking rear wing.
Yeah, I mean, it went so hard in events. Well, frankly, I'm surprised him back on the racetrack at all. I thought when
I know.
Well, when he spun out, right, that whole right rear suspension completely buckled and the tire got sucked under the car. I thought it was done.
Give his virtual crew credit for repairing that mess.
I would have loved to see the pick animations of them trying to work on that. Where the heck do we even start with this? He's only down 3 laps, never mind, he's down 8 laps. Okay, he's a bit further down than I thought, but he's out here, right? And he recognized that when these guys fighting this close together, there is a very high chance we're going to get another caution at the end of this race, especially since we've had, 3 or 4 already. May as well stay out, score some extra points.
Yeah. That's what I was saying about Garrett earlier, the drive, the survive. It's just, you're out there now. Stay out of everyone's way. And this is a wide racetrack, as you see from some of these camera shots. So if he stays high or low when the leaders are coming, it remains predictable. The leaders will like that. They'll get around them pretty quickly, and then he can resume his normal, racing pace and line.
4 laps from halfway in the Sim Gaming Expo Indy 300 here at the legacy stand of the Kentucky Speedway. And a lot of ground still yet to be made on the field here this afternoon. The top 3 working together, and they have been building out quite the gap to Matthias Strauss, as well as Max Sebastian Kinder. In fact, Kinder's lost almost 9/10 of a second just to Strauss alone, and he's into the clutches now of Dance, Wilson, and Aitken.
Good news is track temperature's come down. It's 3 degrees cooler. 113.
Unfortunately, the wind's picked up to match.
Yeah. So where one element goes away, another element comes into account. But they should, with the cooler track, have a little bit more grip to counter any buffeting the wind might do. We'll see.
Completely random thought off the top of my head. Have you ever imagined what an Indycar race of these things around Bristol would look like?
Chaos. The closest broadcast I've ever done to that has been the PM18 with the old, and they're still around, TNT series. They had a race at Bristol. And it was quite chaos, but those are much slower, kind of a younger sibling of these particular cars, and could probably handle that racetrack a lot better than these. The IR18s, the DW12s, and the IR05s have no business at Bristol.
That's why we need to do it. We're on iRacing. It's a game. Let's do it. Look, if
Well,
I can throw
I don't-
30 of these things around the Urbandale figure with a jump, I can do it at Bristol.
You'll have to lobby Robert for that one. The closest I'm seeing in actually kind of an official racing is every now and then the official series will go to North Wilkesboro.
Really?
Every now and then. Yeah, and I think they're trying to lobby to get it to go again. But actually next season in the Indy Oval Series for the official iRacing series with the IR18, there will be a race at Darlington. So check that out.
Nice. Kinder and Dance looking like they are ready to go at it as Dance trying to look around the outside, looking for a sniff of clean air as we can get a run going on the Frenchman. Might be eager to close back to the front to keep himself from losing too many points up to Thomas Moosenin as we take a look at the standings, right? I mean, Moosenin was a ways back, but with that gap right now, it would be enough to overtake Dance by 12 points.
Yeah, getting in the second half of the season, you start thinking about leading those points more often and putting yourself in a position where those every little point help. And getting into that final race of the season, you don't want to finish a position behind someone by 1 or 2 points, because then you start thinking to yourself, what if I just made those extra couple of laps? What if I just didn't make a decision at turn 1 of lap 1 of this race? And Kinder coming to pit road, and we have to enter off the backstretch, so this is a scheduled stop as he's coming down off the access road. Very careful here, very, very slippery. And now he's got to get down to the pit road speed limit at those cones, and he does. And he flat spots those tires, but he's getting them off anyways.
Now, what's the harm in the tires? I'm sure you can't lock them up even further into your pit stall and overshoot. I totally haven't lost races doing that. So this is an early stop, though, right? This is a good.
Yeah.
This is at least 20 laps earlier than we were anticipating.
Yeah, he's trying to separate these last bit of this race, I think, into thirds, and he's going to attempt an undercut here.
I kind of like the idea, honestly. Come down with around like 40 laps to go, break it up. I mean, because that's
he won't
it.
like
we don't have overtime, right? So you may as well.
Right. Thank God we don't have overtime. What he doesn't want to see here, anything happen in this segment right here before anyone else comes to pit road, he does not want to see a caution. If a caution comes out while he is still in his position right here, he is, basically you could take a screwdriver to him.
Yeah.
That's the better way of putting it.
Well, the top three continuing to build some momentum here as they pull away from fourth on back. And it does look like these guys are more working with each other, doesn't it? I mean, I think they want to get away from Cameron Dance behind, and they are more eager to just kind of help each other out rather than fight each other all that much. There hasn't been a lot of aggressive looks for position here. They are catching some lap traffic on the road as well, in the form of both Johnny Garrett and, in fact, Randy Shoemake and Jan Hoppen, for that matter. So there's 3 bouts of lap traffic that these guys have to get around.
Just pitted too. He's only 6 laps into his current stint, so his strategy is very similar to Kinder's strategy. So what he wants to do is try to utilize those fresh tires of his and stay on the lead lap. He doesn't really want to get past, and if he does get past, he'll just want to tuck in and stay as close as possible to that lead group. But he'll actually race this lead group like he's racing for the win, because he wants to stay in touch with them. If he loses touch with them and they come to pit road and they beat him out, he will, it's not going to be good for him, because he's going to be behind them on the racetrack again. So he wants to stay ahead of them.
Time continues to slowly but surely tick away. We're going to give a quick thanks to the guys that keep the lights on here for the VRS Classic Indycar Series. Founded in 1989, Paper Recycling Systems first provided cold milling services to the Southern California market. Now PRS has subsequently grown into the premier general engineering subcontractor for cold milling, soil stabilization, roller compacted concrete, and cold in-place asphalt recycling in California and Nevada, with a presence in Utah, Oregon, and Washington. In 2007, PRS added the highly regarded pavement preservation company, Pavement Coatings Company, adding pavement preservation services throughout California and specializing in the use of RAP aggregates via their Reclaimed Aggregates division. Both PRS and PCC are owned by PRS Holdings Incorporated and are proud to be 100% employee-owned. For more, visit paperrecycling.com. Well, again, around lap traffic, Randy Shoemake now with a 4/10 gap over Ethan Aiken. Can they run it down?
I think they can run them down. It just, you know, whether you really want to put the effort into running them down now, 40 laps into this stint, you just kind of want to keep them in sight. Don't let them get too far away. Because they got pit stops coming up here in about, because we haven't had any cautions in this stint, I don't think. Yeah, so they're looking at probably another 9 laps ago. The intel we were getting pre-race from the participants is right around 50 laps for a stint. So they're 42 now into the stint.
Well, they're going to keep the fight up here as we are in our longest green flag run of the race so far, and well in to the back half of the SimGaming Expo Indy 300 this afternoon. Well, the guys fighting for the lead are picking up, as well as that Jamie Wilson and Andrew Aiken still having some work with themselves here. You got John DeGarrett right behind them as well. I believe they just got around his lap traffic, so this is a fight that might develop over the next little while, but I think kind of like your front runners, they're just taking it easy.
Yeah, they got to be thinking ahead here, because if they got a green flag pit stop coming up, they got to enter off of turn 3 on the access road there. That is not very easy to do. Very flat, very slippery down there, very narrow. You get your car's wheels, you drop them into that grass. Done. I mean, you might as well be causing a caution on your own if you do something like that. So they have their minds focused forward, downrange, thinking about this first green flag stop coming up here now, anywhere between 5 and 8 laps from now. And also on top of that, they might be in their black boxes wanting to change, you know, any aero settings, any tire pressure settings. Remember, this is open setup, so all that stuff is game to change on a pit stop. And will they change tire pressures? Maybe they'll change the aero configuration of the car, add some front wing, take some front wing out, add some rear wing. You can do all of that stuff.
Well, the field going to drive around to turn numbers 3 and 4, sorry, and back around 1 and 2. Thomas Boosted and now being held up on one of the Vortex Sim Racing cars it's not Robert Groscher. Groscher is still off the racetrack. I believe that's Jan Hoffman going down.
Hoffman, so yeah, he pitted only 17 laps ago, so he's on that slightly different strategy, same strategy as Seb Kinder. Given a wide berth. In case anyone's ever wondering here, the Indycar series ran here 12 times for real, from 2000 to 2011. Their all-time wins leaders here for the Indycar series, a pair of Indy 500 winners. Each have 2 wins here. Buddy Lazier and Sam Hornish. Of course, the last race was here in 2011 with this chassis. And since then, they've reconfigured the track, and the IR18 has never raced, or the DW12, at the newer configuration. There's a lot of push that, hey, you got an unused racetrack kind of in the regional sphere of influence for IndyCar. Why don't you go back to the place? But I don't want to say the track has fallen into ill repair, but it just hasn't been really upkept since the last Cup race that was there. I can't remember how long ago. Oh, we got a battle for second brewing as Wood's going to send it to the inside on Aiken, or on Agan.
And you also had Jamie Wilson just get around Andrew Aitken as well for 6th place. And Hoffman catches the wall. Exiting turn number 4. Jamie Wilson, Andrew Wood, there we go, gets around Ethan Agan into turn 1. And moves it in, holding strong, head of the field.
Yeah, last time I saw that this place was some sort of holding facility for cars of some sort. Maybe rental car overflow facility or something. I can't remember exactly what, but yeah, that's definitely not being used for racing right now. That's for sure. That's a shame because it's a nice, big, modern style racetrack outside of Cincinnati, within 2 hours driving distance or so of Indianapolis. Probably 6 hours from Chicago and St. Louis. Not too far from Pittsburgh either, and Columbus. So some big, really major metropolitan areas, some big markets are not that far away. And this place just is not used. And I don't know why the Cup Series doesn't come here anymore. Supposedly, I don't follow the Cup Series as close as I used to, but I thought the next-gen car, the current car they use, raced pretty well on mile and a half. So this is the mile and a half. Why aren't they here?
Because they're more focused on putting racetracks on street circuits, like in San Francisco and Chicago.
Oh, okay.
But honestly, there was dwindling performance. The Kentucky market was never too big, I don't think, here at the Kentucky Speedway. The racing product, honestly, was very, very subpar. And, of course, when they stopped racing here, they were still running the Gen 6 car, right, which did not race all that well here. So it was one of the things where, well, we'll just come on and we'll just stop coming here. I mean, no one likes the racing here. No one wants to come here. It's, Kentucky Speedway often regarded as one of the most disliked mile and a half NASCAR's ever produced, right up there with the likes of Texas Motor Speedway to some degree. It just stopped coming. We haven't had a chance to see what the Gen 7 car would be like here in the real world.
Yeah. Mustonen on pit road, scheduled stop at lap 55 of his stint, so this is right on time.
And no surprises here. Mustonen hitting pit road this time around. And here comes Andrew Wood and Ethan Aiken right on cue behind them. Cameron Dance is in as well on the 56th lap of their stints.
I'm watching Mustonen as he comes out. Very bumpy down here, very narrow. If we ever do an in-car of a pit out, you can see how bumpy it is, how narrow it is, and how they have to keep the car under control. And we already know that these cars have a low torque band, so the wheel spin on these cars in low gears is very easy to do. And the last thing you want to do down there on that very slippery, flat, dirty access out road is spin the wheels down there. And if you do on cold tires, you're going sideways, and it's not going to be good. Stum, the leader, now coming to pit road. So that will hand things over to, I told you, undercut. Seb Kinder is going to be your leader.
So no surprises there. Sebastian Kinder up to the front, but critically he is going to be on 25-lap older tires, so he is going to have a bit of work ahead of him if he wants to retain that gap. Franz Josef Stum comes down pit road. Randy Shoemaker is yet to pit as well. Matthias Strauss 2.7 seconds back, but how quickly can he run down the gap to Kinder up the road?
Well, Kinder's only looking at another 20 or so laps on those tires, which it might sound like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, at 30 seconds or less a lap, those 20 laps are going to go by real quick. And he has himself a 1.3 second lead over Shoemake, who needs to come to pit road now. And then it's Strauss behind him by about 2.4 seconds. So Strauss might be able to run him down because Strauss just came off the pit road not too long ago. But Kinder, again, only 20 or so before he needs to make his final stop. So I told you when he made his stop, he was probably looking at stints of third. So third stop, and final third go to the end. And I think if he gets another 20 or so laps out of this thing, if he comes to pit road at lap 150, he really is good to go to the end unless he wants to come to pit road late because of a late caution and throw a new set of tires on.
Oh, there's the look around the outside of Randy Shoemaker, who again is on old tires. Mustonen going to get around, and Wood looking to go around the outside as well. And that'll put Shoemaker off of the podium, and I think Shoemaker hoping for a caution, trying to stay out as long as he possibly can in hopes that he gets lucky, but it's not going to happen.
61 laps on this stint. I mean, pretty remarkable that he was able to save that much.
And again, if you're going to be a lap down, right, you know you're going to be a lap down, you may as well try and hope that you get lucky.
Yeah, throw the dice. You have nothing to lose, and he's a former winner here.
Randy Shoemake down to pit road right now. Mustinen and Wilson battling it out with one another as time continues to slip away here at the Kentucky Speedway for the Simulated Expo Indy 300. We are going to take a quick step back. When we return, Racing Action resumes on Green Flag TV. Stay with us. Welcome back to Green Flag TV. Matthias Strauss going for the move on Sebastian Kinder for the lead. And with that, GWRS back on top. Coming up on Green Flag TV later this afternoon, it's going to be the Blades of Metals ARCA Series here from the Milwaukee Mile. Before the Boys Racing League out at Michigan. Tomorrow, the Hindsight Racing League takes to the Iowa Speedway. They'll be racing over in Iowa for their final race of the round of 12 of the playoffs. Omar Sorrell takes the Brickyard on Tuesday with PSR out at the Milwaukee Mile alongside the Beer League, who will be at Circuit of the Americas on Wednesday night. All this and more coming up on Green Flag TV. If you're just tuning in, my name is Ola Remble alongside Gary Gotzo. We've been bringing you all of racing action from start to finish this afternoon in the Sim Gaming Expo Indy 300. Well, Gary, we knew this was inevitable, right? When we knew Sebastian Kinder came down with those 25-lap older tires compared to the rest of the field, we knew for a fact, well, he's going to get swallowed up. It was just a matter of time. The question is the undercut that he's going to get off this strategy big enough that it'll pay off for him come the end of the race in the final stint?
He needs to stay right there. He can't hemorrhage any more time. He probably is going to pit here in the next 9 laps.
I don't know. I kind of want to, split the last stint in half. I mean, yeah, he's got 9 laps to work with, but you can still go longer. I would probably go at least another 15.
It is an option. However, the time he could save on pit road by not having to fill the car up as much and just throw a new set of tires on might be beneficial and might be as what he's in his mind thinking is what could be his shot, because all these other cars are going to come to pit road probably with a lot drier tanks, and they'll need to fill it all the way up to the mark that they'll need to get to the finish, whereas he won't need to fill as much because he's coming with a partially full tank anyway.
I mean, it's there.
He's losing touch. He's losing touch though, so it's not really kind of going in his favor. It was a good gamble. I don't think he's unless we get a caution, I don't think he's got in contention for the win right now. I think your winners are coming from the top 3. It's going to be Strauss, Mustaine, and Wood. Now, I just jinxed them all, so we'll see what happens.
You know, we've talked about this a lot. Why do we still jinx people? We keep saying we're not going to do it every week.
I wish I had that level of influence, but apparently some people tell me I do, and sometimes, so I don't know. I remember telling some people in an Indycar chat that after Joseph Newgarden made the pass at Gateway, I said, this race is his to win right now, or his race to lose right now. And then about 20 laps later, he was on his lid. So I did it.
You know, jinxing people in real life, that's an even more impressive feat. You know, we can only do it in the sim. We've had a streak going, though, in sim. It's just been curse after curse after curse. I mean, heck, yesterday during the 6-hour endurance race, we were talking about how, you know, we've been having a lot of incidents, but not a lot of safety cars. Lo and behold, we got a safety car period that lasted about an hour because of how many issues there were to sort out underneath that safety car period. So I think that's one of the ultimate curses we've ever had on the channel right there.
Oh. Here's Egan underneath Kinder. So Kinder, again, those tires are really hemorrhaging him time and spots right now. He went from the lead to 5th spot in about 10 to 13 laps. Power of a safety car on a 6-hour endurance. I've never heard of that.
The problem was drivers came down from emergency repairs and it completely screwed what the running order was supposed to look like. So they had to spend a long time sorting out what penalties were legitimate, which ones needed to be cleared, who needed to be where the running. They basically had to do a manual sort of an entire 53-car grid. Good luck with that. I did not envy their workload that day. Well, the top 3 continue to pull away. Of course, we are about to enter the back half of the Classic Indycar Series in their 2025 campaign. The Chicagoland Speedway will be the next one up. Another 300-mile run coming on up in 2 weeks to close out August. And then our second-to-last road course race will be at Mid-Ohio. Sorry, third-to-last road course race will be at Mid-Ohio in September alongside the Long Beach Street Circuit. And then we enter October, right towards the end of the season, and obviously the month of November, still a period that everybody's got circled on their calendars, right? Pole day, bump day, the Indy 500 probably will be the 8th running of the Buck Picker Indianapolis 500 here for CIS, becoming an annual affair.
Yeah, in the second half of the year, kind of outside of the normal IndyCar schedule in the community, there's only 2, there's really now 3 real big Indy 500s in the second half of the year, kind of outside of May. One of which is the Elite Racing League in October. The other one is the Classic IndyCar Series in September. And, of course, the PRI Hoosier 500 that will be held in December, kind of the former Open Wheels 500. So this, I encourage everybody to make sure to tune in all season long for every single race, but definitely check out that 500 because it is truly one of the longer-running, more prestigious Indy 500s in the IndyCar community on this service out there, period. So definitely check it out in September. Last year's race, I wasn't in the booth, but I remember your call. It was an outstanding finish.
A 3-wide photo finish that involved your brand new champion of the season as well, who had been crowned going into the race, Adam Blocker, taking home the win on an absolutely legendary drive. And that was after a record-setting pole day as well, right? Because, I mean, the league's fastest ever Indy 500 qualifying speed got reset 4 separate times in the span of about 20 minutes. It was one of the most intense battles for pole position we have ever seen in any race on Green Flag TV, and one of the most intense finishes as well. I mean, a 3-wide photo finish at the end of a 500-mile race. You couldn't script that if you tried.
No. The only thing would have been better, I guess, is a 3-wide photo finish with no caution. But a 3-wide photo finish over a 500-mile race. Here comes Kinder to pit road, by the way. This will be his final stop, and right in the neighborhood I thought it would be, right around 150, 155, coming to pit road for his final stop. But a 3-wide finish after 200 laps and 200 miles per hour at Indianapolis at 500 miles, that's just simply unheard of. Close finishes are kind of on the order kind of with this car nowadays at Indianapolis, certainly with the DW12, and to a lesser extent some of the IR18 races have been pretty close. But to have 3 cars like that over the course of 3 hours, be inches apart, just outstanding.
You know, quite a few tracks have their start-finish line further up towards Turn 4. I frankly love the fact that the start-finish line at Indianapolis is so far down towards Turn 1. The drag races that you get there down that stretch that it gets run out of the final corner are some of the most spectacular sights you'll see in motor racing. Almost more so than the runs you get out of those madhouse finishes at tracks like Talladega or Daytona, right? Where you're beating and banging to the line, everything falls apart in the tri-oval, and it's just a race of who's going to survive to make it to the checkered flag.
2 drivers that wish that start-finish line was in a different spot. Marco Andretti wishes that start-finish line was a little bit closer to Turn 4. And I'm pretty sure Scott Goodyear wishes that finish line was a little bit closer to Turn 1.
Oh, boy. Well, you can't please everybody.
No, you can't. You can't. Absolutely not.
Mustonen still running up front. If you pit now, you are good to go the distance. And again, we are in, by far, our longest green flag run of the night. Our latest yellow flag came out, about around lap 80 thereabouts, I think.
Yeah, they've done a good job this
that was, a third of the night, I believe, as well. So not the one caution race that Robert Grosjean was hoping for, but it hasn't been a caution fest like some races like the Milwaukee Mile or Mobility Resort Motegi were earlier in the season. It's been a good run.
Let's find that wood to knock on. We still got 40 laps to go here in Kentucky. And, of course, anything can happen when these cars come off the banking and get onto that access road, and that's normally the clinching moment, if you know what I mean. When you come off that banking and you try to slow these cars down. Now, these cars do not like to slow down under braking very quickly. These are meant to be oval cars, so they're going to have very thin brake discs, and so they don't like to slow down very fast. So you got to really be in control of the car all the way around while trying to turn it on a part of the racetrack that is very dirty, is very flat, and is very narrow. So these guys still have to thread the needle one more time before getting to the end, and we suspect, frankly, you'd already talked about, the window's open to get to the end, but I think what these guys, was standing right up against the wall, greeting it there on Turn 2 exit. I think what they want to do is just get these tanks as empty as possible, come and get a fresh set of tires, put as least amount of fuel in here to get to the finish, and throw some Red Bull laps down like they do in Formula One at the end of races, and just see who can, just out-drag everybody to the finish here, because I think it's going to come down to these 3, unless one of these guys has a problem coming to pit road. But I really think it's going to be coming down to these 3. These 3 all have it within their skill set to come to pit road very quickly and to maximize that stop-and-go time.
You saw Ethan Hagan just coming down pit road as well. In fact, he just started to make his way back out onto the racetrack. Let's take a look once again at the standings entering this final portion of the race. And right now, Dance and Moose about dead even on the points here. It will be a pretty intense run, as here comes Matthias Strauss down in the pits, and that will put Moose up by just a little bit here.
Can we get an onboard with Strauss's when he's on pit road? I want to show everybody how narrow and bumpy coming off of pit road is. Let's do that. We'll watch Strauss coming down the pit road. So he's on the rev limiter. That's what the flashing lights are mean. So it's a speed limiter.
Shifted from first to second, though, to get that little bit of extra.
A little bit, yeah. We're exposing a little secret there, but that's the deal. And so he's going to come in, slide into his spot here, hit his marks. Now in his screen, he's going to see all of his crew members and his marks and everything. I wish they had that animated for us. They don't here. So we just see him hitting his box. Now watch when he comes down. Right when he gets past this pace car, he's going to get to these green cones. Now he's off the button. But watch as he blinks in and out, watch the wall on the left side all of a sudden come out to greet you. You need to stay between that wall and that yellow line. And look how narrow it is, and look how bumpy it is.
And now he's got 100% power. Well.
Oh, yeah, it's just awful down there. It's just awful. So he has now dodged the first major bullet to get to the end here. Probably the last major bullet to get to the end. He survived and did everything he needed to do correctly on pit road. No penalties, No nothing, no X's, no nothing. He now is good to go to the end, and he wants to push here.
It's worth noting as well, right, that it's also not going to be an easy fight to get into pit road either. It's just as difficult getting down as it is getting out, because you got to be just as quick coming down of it as you are getting off of pit road. And you know, here where you have to pit in turn 3, right? If you slip wide, his Moosin nearly catches the wall again.
He did, man. He is releasing that wheel sooner and sooner and sooner, trying to get the maximum run off the corner. And there's Egan with new tires, 200.6. So we have eclipsed the double century mark in speed for the purple lap. Not too far from off where we qualified. But yeah, I would love to get an in-car of coming on the pit road if we could actually catch it from Mustana, because it is really, again, an example of threading the needle. Here comes Wood, and he's coming to pit road.
Here he is coming down to the box. I mean, we got a look going out. Let's get a look coming in. It's very flat, right? So you're flirting with the lines here.
And get to that
hard lock up on the brakes.
Yeah.
He's able to get down in time. Moosin now all out by himself with no help. Coming to 30 to go.
Like 45 miles. I think intermediate tracks are like 45 miles per hour on pit road, 40, 45, something like that. So he's going from 200 down to that, and he slides in to his box up on the jacks. So he got pneumatic jacks on these cars. It's been a long time IndyCar innovation, and down and away. And they do have a regular jack they can use in the event that the pneumatic jacks don't work.
Oh, Cameron.
All right, he almost got the wheels over the yellow line coming up the speed. He's flirting with the outside. He's trying to unwind that car and make it as fast as possible, but Wood is back out. Sorry, go right ahead.
Well, Cameron Dan's right now leading the way as he's got Jamie Wilson sitting just behind. Right now, the top 5 have all not yet come down to pit road, save for Moosin. The top 4 have yet to come down to the pits. And right now, Matthias Strauss out of pit road, and frankly, Kinder's undercut didn't work.
No, but Strauss jumps Mustanen significantly.
Critically here, though, Mustanen's 6-lap pressure tires can now start to reel that gap back in, and has got draft help with Andrew Wood and even Aiken behind him. Strauss is all by himself. He doesn't have any help up there. He could be a sitting duck here if these guys work together.
They have enough starts in these cars through the course of their career, whether it be in the IR18, the DW12, or this car, that they will work together. Just sight unseen, nothing spoken, non-verbal. They are working together right now with 27 to go to try to run this down. Now, the gloves are going to come off at some point. But there's Egan again with the purple lap, 200.8.
Well, the field driving her back deep into turn numbers 3 and 4, looking for 3 wide to get around Randy Shoemake. The gap down to 1.6 between Strauss and Moosin. And Andrew Wood now with the last lap of the race, quickly taking it away. Andrew Aitken hits pit road. So he is going to be in for service. Meanwhile, Mustonen, Wood, and Egan still looking to run down Matthias Strauss. The gap down to 1.55.
Yeah.
So that gap is coming down slowly but surely. Can you hang on for 25 laps?
I think they're going to catch him probably with about 15 to go. So they'll keep reeling him in. Strauss, if he can get within, let's see, Strauss is 7/10 behind Hoffman. If he can get just a little bit closer, he'll start to get the pull from Hoffman's car, and he'll start to actually maybe pull away. I think that's kind of what he's hoping for, is he gets a little bit of a arrow handoff here with this group in front of him, and he's now within 5/10 of that group in front of him. So he is definitely 100% getting a benefit of the draft. an aero assist from the cars in front of him that the cars behind him are not quite getting it.
Mustonen and Wood still going at it here as they fight their way through 3, through 4. Battle for 5th. The one to watch. As this will easily turn into a battle for number 2. Once Dance, Wilson, and Weekly all bail out to pit road. They are likely hoping for a caution. So
they are.
So they can try and come down pit road and be on advantage on tires with the restart.
Anytime, 51 laps now when Dance crosses the line. Jamie Wilson will be at 51 laps when he crosses the line. Caleb Weekly will be at 52 laps when he crosses the line. So again, they're just kind of hoping now. This is the big roll of the dice that something happens. And they're not a part of it. Here comes Dance. He has the bail on the strategy. He's coming to pit road for his final stop. Going to be a quick one. He'll get just enough fuel to get to the end. And it takes about 5 seconds to change the tires on these cars with a single lug, impact lug in the middle of these tires. It's easy on, easy off. Andrew Aiken, Mustonen ups Aiken's purple lap to a 2:02.5.
So Dance down to the pits. Jamie Wilson staying out one more here as he tries to hope for that yellow flag. He has now gone longer than Dance has on that strategy, and he's going to go longer by 2 laps. Caleb Weekly, meanwhile, on lap 53 of his stint. He is also hoping for more. Dance now shipping one of the fastest cars on track with the freshest tires in the field.
The lightest tank. One of the lightest tanks. Actually, Jamie and Caleb, when they come, they actually have lighter tanks. They're going longer, so they need less to get to the end. But here is Mustonen. He has caught the leader, or will be the leader when the leaders come to pit road. This is the battle for the lead, for the win, right here. To the inside.
Right now, Mustonen gunning it to get around Team Watson Racing setup. Strauss to the outside line. Mustonen trying to hold on. And Strauss loses the lead. Can he at least hold on a second? Maybe. He's trying to go back at him. Wanted to get the race lead back, not willing to let the 22 get away with it so easily. Wilson is ultimate into the box. Andrew Wood right behind Matthias Strauss, looking for the inside line, not able to attack just yet. Strauss still clinging to the tail of the draft of Thomas Mustonen. He may be on 6-lap older tires, but he is still more than eager to fight it out for the top spot. And with 15 laps to go, nothing to hold these guys back. It's going to be an all-out slugfest from here to the end.
And should point out that Mustonen has 8 career wins. I'm not sure what he's got on the oval. His last couple of wins have been on road courses. I know him as more of a road expert since I kind of joined the booth with you. So I've not seen him win at an oval recently. Well, you know what? He might have won an oval race during the Winter Series when I was broadcasting the Winter Series. He might have won that Phoenix race, if I remember right. But he is looking to add to the resume, at least this season, of kind of showing the well-rounded driver aspect of winning on roads and winning on ovals. And let's not rule out Andrew Wood. Andrew Wood has 1 win here in the Classic Indycar Series, and he would love to get his 2nd career win.
In terms of race wins, his lone win on an oval track has come at the Phoenix Raceway, and it was in the Winter Series earlier this year on February 1st. But in the main championship, he has never won on an oval track here on in the Classic IndyCar Series. And you know for a fact, He is wanting to finally take that win here this afternoon. It would be big for him if he can make it work. The closest he came was at Mobility Motegi earlier this year with a third-place finish, and at the Phoenix Raceway last year where he finished second. He has gotten both steps of the podium. Can he hang on for 13 more laps, make it 12 more laps, and make this his first official oval win in the big series?
For his fourth win this season. Remember, he won at Brazil, won at the Indy GP course, and then won at Portland for the inaugural race at Portland. So he has he's got the left and rights covered, and now he's looking to check the box like Alex Palou did, really, at Indianapolis to get his first big oval race win there. He did it, so let's see if Mustanen could do the same thing and kind of set the same tone for the remainder of the season that Palou did for the NTT IndyCar Series.
Mustanen and Wood continue to go at it for first and second place, and they have been pulling away from Matthias Strauss. It very much is a two-horse race for the win right now as you ride on board with the Power Slide Team Chimera number 64 of Andrew Wood. Some lap traffic of the road. It's Andrew Aitken. He's going to move to the outside. Let first and second through down low in 3 and 4. Wood so far caught in that wall of dirty air, and he's trying to punch through it.
Right now, Wood, I'm not sure kind of what Wood's waiting on. Maybe he can't get there. Maybe he's just kind of sitting, waiting. Maybe he even short-filled it a little bit, just to be a little bit lighter. Maybe he's trying to save some fuel, and before he knows he has the number, he can finally attack. Just because he can't pass doesn't necessarily mean there's a problem. But he is running out of time. 8 to go, 7 to go next time by.
Andrew Wood has gotten through the dirty air. The gap comes down to under 0.2 of a second. How hard is Mustanen pushing that car to stay out in front? Has Andrew Wood been saving a little bit more just for this moment? He's right there, a 10th and a half, a 10th and a third.
Good run.
He really wants to go for that race win, but he's not able to get the run he needs down the back straightaway.
Another good run off the corner. He's right there in the draft. Mustanen swings her out wide. Unwinding that wheel sooner and sooner and sooner, trying to get his maximum exit.
Andrew Wood with only one Classic IndyCar Series win to his name. It came almost 3 years ago at the Auto Club Speedway. He has taken not even a podium since then. That was his best finish. His best finish since then was a third-place finish at the Phillip Island. That was third earlier this year. Can Andrew Wood finally take his first win since September of 2022? Two historic names here in Classic Indy Series competition, both fighting for very important wins in their careers.
Wood, a winner at the Lionheart level, won everywhere he goes. He's my broadcast partner for the Dark Horse Series. That will be later tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. If no one else is watching anything else over on the B1 channel, join us at Michigan. But he has won at everything IndyCar-wise that he has stepped in. And he's going to have a run on the bottom side here, coming at Thomas down the front straight. He actually kind of rolled out of it a little bit. I'm wondering what he's waiting for. Let's see what happens.
He might be waiting for the final lap because he doesn't want to come back under fire from that number 22, remember. That's a critical factor for him. He's got to keep this in line right now. Andrew Wood, 2 laps to go, coming back around. Oh, he skips loose. He's on the apron. That's going to slip a little bit. That'll do it. That should end the fight. He saves it, but
do it. That is going to do it, unfortunately.
Near disaster for Andrew Wood. The gap drops back to 4.5 tenths, you can tell. Wood knows it's over. He's backed off. He's not pushing it. He knows the fight's over when he sees it. Thomas Mustonen takes the white flag. He'll work the Kentucky Speedway for the final time. Andrew Wood closing the gap back down to 4/10. But it'll be too little, too late. Thomas Mustonen, an 8-time CIS winner, all of them on road courses. Today, it's win number 9 and his first oval win in Classic Indycar Series competition. And Andrew Wood will have to settle once again as second fiddle. But regardless of that, right, that is still his best finish in over 3 years.
Great job, both drivers, great job. Gets the oval monkey off his back as he noses it into the wall on the backstretch. And Andrew on a bit of a roll. He came off a very difficult race on Thursday in the Elite Racing League at Portland. Got a top 10, but he said he just didn't feel like he was sharp. Today he looked sharp. He looked like the Andrew Wood that I know Andrew Wood can be. So the catalyst has been lit, and he brings it home for a podium finish. And let's not forget Matthias Strauss. Did a good job trying on a little bit of an alternative strategy, and it almost worked.
Nearly worked out. Wasn't meant to be today. But he still comes home a very respectable third place. That's good points for him. The Iconic Motorsports, Dave.com, number 22, will burn it down to the front straightaway. As Mustonen can finally put this one to bed with his first oval win. Well, with all that said and done, let's take a rundown of your official post-race results here this afternoon. It was a wild one all throughout racing action here this afternoon, and this one is going to go the way of Thomas Mustonen as he takes home number 1 this afternoon. Andrew Wood will have to settle for second. He was looking to put up a fight towards the end, but unfortunately clipped the apron coming to 2 laps to go, and that sealed the deal. Matthias Strauss comes home third. Ethan Hagen back in 4th, Sebastian Kinder in 5th, Cameron Dance in 6th, 18 in 7th, Wilson, Weekly, and Hoffman close at the top 10 with 7th through 10th, 1 lap down.
And going on to the next page here, Sturm. He had a bit of a difficult race, but again, brought it home. He comes home at 11th. Shoemake, former winner here, 12th. Giacometti, rough race, but does bring it home running still and rolling. In 13th, Johnny Garrett. Not the race he wanted either. 14th, Marcamini, 15th. Santos in 16th. Barcanau in 17th. Grosser, kind of a start and park there, but comes home 18th. Logan Simmons is credited for 19th, but he is not supposed to be in this race. And Rafi Eckert, my understanding, was supposed to be making his first start tonight. Did not, and at least on my screen, is credited for 20th. And that is the standings. Well, I mean, we got one more page, maybe. Yeah, Gary Wright, 21st. And I don't think Wright and Eckert even took the green flag. So that is your 21-car field, but really only, I think, 18 took the green flag.
3 legendary stories. For one, it's the first oval win. For another, his best finish since 2022 in almost 3 years. And for another, his first career podium. We'll talk to all of them over the course of the next several minutes here as we take a run down and show you who finishes where here at the end of the night, as we're going to bring, first off, Thomas Mustonen into the broadcast booth. Thomas, it is your 9th win. You're no stranger to victory related to the Classic IndyCar Series. It is still a special one, though, because this is your first official oval win in the big series. How does it feel? You know what? It might help if we even gave you the ability to speak. Try now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it feels great to. I've been trying for this for over a year now. Started doing ovals for the first time last year in this series. So, yeah, feels good, making progress, and also helpful for the championship, not just having the road courses be where I get the points.
Kind of talk us through this one. I know you took a podium earlier in the season at Mobility Resort Motegi. You led several laps there, was looking good for you. Didn't quite go your way. This one, you were looking to have quite the fight with Wood before he slipped up with 2 laps to go and dropped back.
Yeah, it was very stressful. I don't really. It was basically just hold it flat everywhere and just pray he doesn't get a better exit or get a good toll out of somewhere and then throw it up the inside or outside. But just really just need to be perfect. Don't give an inch, and I guess that's what sealed it in the end.
Well, Cameron Dance dropped back to 6th, so you've been able to absolutely run him down in terms of the points here this afternoon. We look to 2 weeks. It may be a similar length, but that is about as far as the similarities go. Chicagoland Speedway, it's another 1.5-mile D oval, but a wildly different track that we've got here this afternoon. Do you got any plans already for that race?
Honestly, no idea. I still need to find out what the track even looks like, since I don't have any experience on there. So that's gonna be an experience, but looking forward to it.
Well, we wish you the best of luck when we go racing once again. Congratulations on taking your first ever oval win in the Classic IndyCar Series outside of the Winter Series, and we'll hopefully see if this is going to be win number 10 next week.
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you, guys.
Moosonen comes home number 1 this afternoon. We'll bring up Andrew Wood. For Wood, it's the last time he finished on a podium, or at least the last time he finished in second place was all the way back shy of 2022. Gary, you're standing by with Wood.
Hey, Andrew, man, we were, or at least I was. I show my biases every now and then, but I was rooting for you, and you got it. You got close there in the last couple of laps, and then just grabbed a little too much of the apron, as we like to say in the broadcast. Apron bad and apron bit ya going through 3 and 4. Talk about it, though. It's got to be refreshing, though. Normally that we kind of talk after some of these races, and there's a lot of frustration in your voice. Maybe a little less frustration this time for a podium finish coming in second?
Oh, absolutely, Gary. Yeah, it's good to be back in the interview booth here. I think I've gone almost 2 full calendar years without that. So, yeah, this is definitely a great result. Jamie and I both were completely lost with any sort of setup. Guys were talking about a lot of right rear tire wear and everything. So we really were trying to think outside of the box to try and find something that was going to work quite well. And even going up to the very last second as we approached qualifying, we weren't prepared. As you saw, we both qualified quite poorly. But the race started, and we made like a couple of small tweaks, especially with the gears and everything. And all of a sudden we're like, oh, we're just picking up spots left and right out of nowhere. And that's not usually what happens in these cars. So we were like, okay, let's try and maximize what we can there. And then you saw we took the lead, but we both decided that we could follow, but we can't lead with the setup. It just was too much. The car was too wobbly in clean air and everything. So that's why we just kind of let everyone go and then kind of sifted right to the back of that pack there. So at that point, I realized that the car was a much better pusher. And it's a little trick with these cars. If you get right behind someone, you could just kind of bubble push them along. And then if the cars behind you can't hang on, they'll start to drop off. And that's exactly what happened. So I started to feel pretty good about that for a while. Yeah, and just comparing, Jamie and I were saying I was running about 0.4 a lap faster than he was all by himself. So that was the key right there. So I knew I just had to really have clean pit stops after my 2 poor yellow flag ones that dropped me some spots there. And luckily I learned from those. And yeah, coming to the end of the race, I mean, Thomas was, I don't know if he took off downforce or something like that, but it was very, very hard to stick with him. You know, we caught Matthias, and Matthias dropped off quite fast, which was also a little shocking. But I really tried my best to just change my lineup a little bit. I got right up to him, and then, yeah, as you previously mentioned, the apron. But actually, he had given a little bit more of a turn into turn 3 than I had seen in the last, I don't know, 70 laps I was running behind him. So that kind of forced me down a little bit lower just visually. I'm like, I got to get a little lower, and then I saw the apron coming, and luckily it was just a little bit of a touch on the apron that just upset the car a little bit, but it was over from there. Even without the apron touch, his car was too fast. I can get next to him, but I could not complete a pass on the exit of 2 or the exit of 4 even earlier in the race. So it would have been a valiant effort, but yeah, I'm rambling on now. But as you can see, I'm quite happy. So you asked, I answered. So good job from the team today for sure.
We are just past the halfway point after the summer break, and now you are 3rd in points, only 39 behind the lead, within earshot, really, of making a championship run here. Do you got it in you?
It's going to take a lot of work to fight Cameron and Thomas week after week after week. This was definitely one of those races that surprised us, but it could be a surprise coming down the road as well. And I have to say that this is my 8th season in CIS. This is my best running one yet. I'm gonna knock on myself, knock on wood a little bit, because
Yeah.
it's been a Cinderella story for me this year. I had a little bit of a rough time at the short tracks at both Richmond and Milwaukee, both tracks I had pegged on my calendar. So this one, after those 2 misfortunes, feels really good. So we'll have to see how it goes. I'm definitely feeling like my driving in this car in particular has gotten a lot better. So yeah, we'll have to see how it shakes out, and I'm looking forward to it.
Real quick, shout outs, friends, family, sponsors. Anyone to say hi to before we let you go?
Yeah, shout out to the organizers of the league, of course, Robert, Yan, Andrew, Adair Saunders. They do a great job. You know, we still have 20+ car grids, which is great. I'd like to shout out my team, Jamie Wilson, who, you know, just as shocked as I was after a little bit of a bummer attitude coming out of qualifying. He did a really good job today as well. And shout out to Henry also, who might be watching. He was not able to make it tonight, but I'm sure he's happy to see Chimera Car up there as well. And you guys in the booth, of course, for calling this one. And I can't wait to go back and watch it.
All right, Andrew, we'll check that out, and then I will see you later tonight, man.
Yep, see you then. Thanks, guys.
Nolan, back to you.
Well, Andrew Wood comes home number 2 with his first podium since September 17th in 2022. We'll bring up Matthias Strauss into the broadcast booth. Matthias, it may only be your first season with us, only in your 7th start, but it is your first podium in Classic IndyCar Series competition. It's got to feel good that the strategy paid off big for you here this afternoon.
Yeah, for sure. To be honest, I'm actually just happy to finish a Classic IndyCar race at this point, because the start of the season has been horrendously bad, apart from Autegi. So with the podium on that, it's the cherry on the top for me.
It was a solid drive for you here all throughout the afternoon. Kind of talk us through how racing action went down this afternoon. Obviously, you were playing the strategy call. You pitted a little bit earlier than the rest of the front runners. That got you into the lead momentarily. Do you reckon if you had pitted later, you would have had a chance to be up front, or was third the best you could have hoped for tonight?
Considering that we messed up the first stop that put us to the rear, I think it made it a lot harder for us to get through the field, but with the later stops, I got a massive undercut, but I think I couldn't really hold the pace up enough, so a podium is more than enough for me today.
Well, it's your first podium in just your 7th start. Of course, there's still a good number of oval races left to go. The next one coming up at the Chicagoland Speedway in 2 weeks' time. Do you reckon you'll be getting more podiums here before the season is out?
I mean, time will tell. Our car is good, so it's just keep working the tools and get more experience in the car, and the results will come.
Well, we wish you the best of luck when we go racing once again. Congratulations on taking home number 3 for the first time of your Classic IndyCar Series career. We'll hopefully see you back here again in Chicagoland in 2 weeks.
Yeah, for sure.
Matthias Strauss comes home number 3, this afternoon, but number 1 in his podium counter, so definitely a happy camper with that one. But well, Gary, that takes us to the close of racing action here this afternoon. A hard-fought race for all drivers involved. And, of course, the championship standings have changed up dramatically. Not an optimal showing from Cameron Danson after the race comes to a close. He is now well outside of the points, 14 back. Thomas Wilson takes up to the front with his first oval win and his 9th total career win. It's looking like Logan Simmons, like you say, not too far out. He's still got less than 40 points. That's easily able to be worked up in the next, 7 or so races. But time's starting to run out, and you still got Wood and Egan, who are also still very much title threats.
Yeah. And Strauss, our own version of Kimi Räikkönen on that interview. Stealthily excited, apparently. But Mustanen, I found an interesting stat. I'll get to him in a second. But Dan's down 2nd. Yeah, Wood 3rd. Egan 4th. So Simmons down to 5th. And then still there and not out of contention yet. Wilson, Garrett, Hoffman, Stum, and Kinder in your top 10. Seb Kinder had a pretty decent race as well. So Still a lot of racing to go. I'm not going to be here for Chicago. I'm going to miss that, unfortunately. It's one of those weird weekends that we move it to a Saturday race, and I have IIS and CIS at the same time. It's just really weird because I think it's the finale of the IndyCar series that Sunday, and they don't want to bounce up against that. So I'm not going to be here for that, but I'm hoping it's going to be a very, very exciting race. It should be. I think it's going to be more of a pack race than it is today because Chicagoland just kind of is more built for that, whereas Kentucky's a little bit more of a flatter race course, and it doesn't really contribute that much to pack racing. So next race in about 2 weeks is going to be very, very exciting. But a very interesting stat for Thomas Mustanen: 17 career starts here in this league, 9 wins. 53% of the time when he takes a green flag in the normal portion of the series for the Classic IndyCar Series, he's going to get a win. So into the second half of the season, that's a big stat because those are like Pelot-type stats right there that we can't ignore. And if he continues this pace up, really Dance has got to pick it up and try to counter and get some wins down the road at some point. And if he can't, and Mustanen just keeps this up, this championship might be well decided before we get to Indianapolis, just like the real NTT IndyCar Series championship. So all these guys and the rest from second, third, fourth, fifth, they really need to step it up because Mustanen, when he gets in the lineup, more than likely, half the time, he's going to be probably picking up a checkered flag, statistically speaking.
Well, there's still plenty of action yet to come here on Green Flag TV, and it kicks off with 2 more races coming on up tonight as well, as you're going to have the For the Boys race on the Audi, the Michigan International Speedway. Alongside them, you will also have the Blazing Pedals ARCA Series, will be out at the Milwaukee Mile for 190 lapper. Tomorrow night, the High Tide Racing League Garden Premier Series closes out their round of 12 at the Iowa Speedway. Of course, OMSRL will swing down to the Brickyard, a doubleheader with the Premier Sim Racing Sim Gaming Expo Truck Series on Wednesdays alongside the Beer League. And then Average Joe Sim Racing League back for more alongside the Highline Diecast Collectible Speed Cup Series on Thursday and beyond. If you want to find out more about who we are and what we can offer you today, check us out on www.greenflagtv. The Classic IndyCar Series returns from the summer break with an absolute classic here for the Sim Gaming Expo Indy 300, the Kentucky Speedway. 300 more miles are set to come up for us here in just 2 weeks' time at the Chicagoland Speedway. And you best bet that myself, Gary Godson, potentially Austin Edstrom, will be bringing you all of racing action from start to finish over 2 weeks from today. In the meantime, my name is Little Ramble alongside Gary Godson. Thank you all so much for joining us here at Kentucky. We'll see you all in 2 weeks when we go racing in Chicago.